Well, joining us now in the studio are a couple of characters I'm sure you're familiar with if you watch the show. Here's Santa Claus over here, Gary Kildall, whom you all know, of course, already. Paul Schindler is joining us. Paul, our regular software reviewer, and in his other life, the senior West Coast editor of Information Week magazine. And over here, this character, George Morrow, our sometime host and regular commentator, and also, coincidentally, the founder and chairman of Morrow Design, makers of the Pivot computer.
Right. Well, we will talk about hardware in the next segment.
Yeah, this is soft. Don't tell us to buy the Pivot for Christmas quite yet. Now, Gary, we're going to talk about software.
Okay, well, let me give the first software gift. Paul has been admiring my hat, so before he rips it off my head, I'm going to turn it over to him as a piece of software.
It's more appropriate to my image than yours, Gary.
Okay, we know who the clown in the crowd is right now.
The Willard Scott of the Computer Chronicles.
Okay, Gary, I want to do one thing before we get on to what the other guys have here. We showed Christmas software at the beginning of this Christmas card on a floppy disk. I want to show you this holiday software is interdenominational. This is a program called All About Hanukkah by Davka of Chicago, and it has a bunch of different programs in here to help kids celebrate the Hanukkah season. And one thing you can see is it actually lights the menorah for you. Tell it how many nights you want to light, and it lights up the menorah for you. So you've got Hanukkah software, Christmas software. Kids is a big part of Christmas, obviously. And what have you got?
The way that I looked at this, there's many opportunities to spend a lot of money in the computer industry.
Sure. Yeah.
Expensive software that goes $100 on up, add-on boards, things of that sort. If you're trying to get an inexpensive gift, one possibility is to go into a bookstore and trying to find something that's appropriate for a child or an adult, whatever. The trouble is you go into a store and you're going to find anything from ABCs on it to textbooks for artificial intelligence. Now, I took two cases. We have three kids at the home that all like the computers in one way or another. Forrest is 9 years old.
You didn't want to spend a big bucks, Gary.
Yeah, right. That's what Chief was. And Forrest likes to play games on his Commodore 64, but he also liked to learn BASIC. And so one book that I picked up for him was his Kids in the Commodore 64. And, of course, it's not oriented toward playing games, but oriented toward learning BASIC. Now, the important thing here is it's got a lot of cartoons, and it keeps the interest of the child, and it's only $13, so that's a good start. Now, Christy is, on the other hand, likes to play around with the Mac and draw pictures and this sort of thing.
Daughter.
The daughter, and she doesn't like to want to learn to program or anything else, but she likes to draw. And so this book here, Becoming a Mac Artist, is an example of one that's very much oriented toward her needs of learning how to create repeating forms, for example, repeating border samples, and shows her how to use this thing in a way that, let's say, an illustrator would learn to use a machine.
You're going to keep the surprise in Christmas, keep them from watching the show before Christmas Day, right?
Okay, Gary, I'm very proud of you. You didn't tell us to buy concurrent, CPM, or GEM, or any of that stuff.
Those are too obvious.
Okay, George, let's get back to you. We're talking software now. Now, what to you would be the ideal software gift for somebody at Christmas time?
Well, you know, my orientation is an awful lot toward the business marketplace, and with the stock market doing the things they are now, it seems Signal software is a really innovative product that is going to not only help you with your investments, but protect you on the downside. You know, they've got part of that software will alert you when your stocks start to drop so that you can sell before.
Okay, describe Signal. That's very new. Most people don't know what it is.
Signal allows you to track your investments and to put performance criteria into what you want out of your investment.
I mean, but it's different from other software. It's real time, right? You've got a radio
It is real time. There's an FM receiver associated with it, and you are tracking the market just as it goes on. And it's a very innovative product.
It's kind of a Lotus add-on, right? I mean, you can sit there, be running Lotus, and at the same time you're receiving over the airwaves.
That's true. That's true.
Stock quotes.
That's right.
Stuart, the thing that strikes me about Signal is that I have friends who are serious professional investors. It's hard to talk about serious and professional that as recently as 3 years ago were offered that capability at a cost of, if memory serves me, $8,000 for the software, and you had to have a separate telephone line to receive the quotes from the market, and Signal is a few $100s.
That's right. No, it's quite a product.
It's part of this whole movement. Everything gets cheaper and faster.
Okay, so
now,
go ahead.
Now, there is a product that I wish was around this Christmas. I'd like to have a product where I could give a gift membership to a users group, but I haven't been able to find that. I think that would be a really good product.
Okay, well, that's not available yet right now. Okay, Paul, you're the software genius here, and you've got some packages there. What are your software picks for Christmas?
Well, I brought a few. You asked me to pick my favorite packages, and so I looked through the last couple of seasons of reviews, and I picked the packages that I really like myself, the ones that are daily of the most use to me.
a child's mind.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. One of the things, just in passing, George, you can give Christmas memberships for sure that I know of to the Source, and they'll send a little certificate. And I, in fact, because I gave one 2 years ago as a Christmas gift to a friend of mine, it's I don't know what the current pricing is, about $100 to join. And probably CompuServe allows the same thing. And for people who aren't yet into bulletin boards and communicating, that's a terrific Christmas gift.
Well, the reason for my comment about the user group, it is the best source of support for any computer use.
So in other words, it's going to be like when you get that Christmas toy on Christmas morning, you're not going to know what to do with it.
You're
going to have
to go to the user group.
Exactly right.
Well, I am not a lot to show, but my word processor. Now, everybody with an IBM PC says that their word processor is the best one in the world, but they're all wrong, and I'm right. This one is it's from a company called XyQuest in Bedford, Massachusetts. Now, it costs $300, but it's called Xywrite, and it is, I'm sorry, it is the best.
You reviewed this
word processor. I think we reviewed everything that I'm
Uh-huh.
talking about here, but I brought them because they're my favorites. I use it every day. Now, is it the best for everybody? Maybe not. But for a professional writer like me, it's the fastest. World's worst documentation, but it's fast. However, Christmas is mostly for kids, and so I brought along one kid thing and one piece of software for people who are kids at heart. The kid software that I brought along is Reader Rabbit. Now, this is $50. And it's made by the Learning Company in Menlo Park,
we have
California.
this up on the Apple.
We have it up on the Apple.
Let's sort of run through how this works, and I'll hit the buttons. You tell me what to do.
I'm one behind Gary here. I have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. The 1-year-old isn't on the computer yet, but the 4-year-old takes lessons on an Apple twice a week, and this is one of her favorites. Now, you'll see here, it's going to give us a pattern to match to. Now, George asked me before we started, how long would a kid be interested in this? And I know it seems amazing, but my daughter's been using this thing for months. Go ahead and push the space bar. And you'll see it'll give us a pattern. We're looking for words that start with, hit the space bar, quick.
Okay, we can't.
Otherwise, we won't
We're looking for words that start with G.
That's right. You got to be fast with this one.
This is a test.
This is a test now.
I do what a 2-year-old
let this go, and it drops into the garbage can. And I know it seems boring, and I know it seems pointless, but teachers tell me it helps teach you to read, and my daughter tells me...
That's a take. What happens?
Reader Rabbit dances.
Okay,
and it's a reward, and it doesn't seem like much of a reward to us, but what can I tell you? Kids are different.
Really enjoy it.
What else
Kids
do you
enjoy
have
it.
here, Paul?
I've got Ultimate Trivia, which is a game for grown-ups, and I just found out today that nobody on the staff here of the Chronicles believed me in my review when I said I play it every morning. I do play it every morning, and in fact, I have to turn the sound off.
The hat really does fit.
I have to turn the sound off to keep my wife from asking me, well, why aren't you working, Paul? I work at home. $50, Ultimate Trivia from Mentor Learning Systems in California somewhere.
How does it help your day?
It gets me, I like to play trivia. It gets me started. It gets the juices going in the morning.
Something like a cup of coffee for the normal person.
Yeah, for a cup of coffee from Santa Clara, California is where Mentor Learning Systems.
Real quick, we only have a couple minutes.
Back up. The best $150 you'll ever spend if you got a hard disk. I'm telling you, the first time your hard disk crashes, you're going to wish you had already owned this package. And finally, Higgins. Dullest packaging on the market, $400. Most expensive package I'm going to recommend, but I'm telling you, if you need to get organized, it's aces. It's absolutely top-notch. Kinetic Systems, Portland, Oregon, and I highly recommend it.
Now, Stewart, you have something also.
I sure do. This goes back to kids, I think, and this is one of the cleverest uses of a computer I've ever seen. If you have an Apple II at home and if you have a kid, this is great. It turns your computer into a kind of a science chemistry lab. What you do is go into the joystick port with this little thing. You've got a thermistor, measures temperature over here, a photoelectric cell that measures light, and you've got all kinds of different electronic meters now. For instance, I can pick thermometer, go into the thermometer mode, and we'll tell it to start measuring temperature. And here it is, and it's telling it's 90 degrees in the studio right now, guys.
That's really clever.
Okay, now I can get out of that, and let's see if I escape and get back to this main menu. We'll get to our light meter here, and I can show you. We'll find out how many foot candles are going in the studio right now if I tell it to start. And there we go, 3.1 foot candles. There's our little light meter going over there. It also has a timer in here so you can do experiments and actually time them. Let's see, I've got to get back here to go down to our timer and call up the timer. And you'll see this is pretty neat too. You get a timer over here, you can start it, you have a digital readout, your little timer keeps on going.
Clever.
So you can time your experiments. We can get out of that. And finally, there's another terrific feature in here, which is this thing called Strip Chart. And if I go into Strip Chart, I can actually draw a graph of the results of what it is I'm measuring. So here we go, and we can see this is just a little typical thing. And if I hit go, there's it going along there, and I'm not doing anything right now, so whatever it is I'm measuring isn't changing. Anyhow, I think this is a terrific way to turn a computer
like the
into
chemistry kit, except
Right,
it can't stain and it can't blow up. Well, it may blow up.
Anyhow, it's called Science Toolkit, and it's from Broderbund.